Welcome back to another episode of Pythonic Accountant. Today's video, we're going to have some fun again with the Enron dataset that we played around with in our last video. So in this one, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the data and take a look at the counts of emails and seeing if there's anything interesting with those counts of emails based on certain dates of activities that happen. So I'm going to not spend too much time going through all the actual code here, but maybe give kind of a high level of what we're doing. So importing the libraries we need, loading up the file that we did before. This is creating basically a format to make it easier to have access to the different elements of every email as we parse them. This function is a big long function that takes the string from each email file and turns them into the different email elements. So I'll show an example of what that does here. So let's say we want email number 3002. This gives me the message, and then within that I have access to all the different components. So I can get like the date, who it was from, who it was to, maybe if there's anybody CC'd, and then the message. So pretty handy. Makes it really nice to be able to access this stuff in a very Pythonic way. And we got about 500,000 records here, 500,000 emails. What we're doing here is we're then creating a list of the unique date for each email that was sent, and then create a count of each of those. And then all this code does down here is we are creating a pivot table that we can then visualize, so you can see the counts of the different emails based on different dates. And I filtered it out so we only see everything from the year 2000 through the middle of 2002, just so we don't have too much extra stuff to make it hard to see. So then finally, I've got code here that uses the Altair library to visualize the counts of emails. And sure enough, there's some very interesting activity here. You see a growth over, this basically year, and then a huge spike at the end of the year, at the end of 2000. And I've got a chronology right here of the timeline of Enron. And so you can see in December, you've got announcement. Basically, the stocks hit a 52-week high, so that could be a piece of it. And then announcement that Skilling will succeed Kenneth Lay as CEO. So that could be related to it. Maybe we'll dig into the content of this in a later video to see what really caused this spike. Then you've got an interesting, huge decline down here. I mean, that's probably for vacation. But I guess it kind of picks back up to normal activity, so that's not really that unusual. Another big one in the middle of June. I'm not sure if there's anything there. Let's see, June. Really nothing in 2001 until August, when Skilling resigns and Lay is named CEO. And so that, the interesting thing to me is you've got this slow growth of activity, spikes, continues growing, and then this huge drop right here in middle of June, and continued, very, very, very significant, what looks to me like almost a gap in email. So I'm wondering whether this data set is missing data, or if there were emails that were withheld or deleted for a certain time period. So very questionable, very interesting. Let's see, you've got another spike. I think we already looked at that one, but you've got this huge spike over here, October 17th, 18th. So let's see what happens there. And yep, sure enough, on the 16th, you've got 638 million in third quarter losses. That's not good. On the 19th, SEC launches an inquiry into Enron finances. So of course you're going to have a bunch of internal emails from that. And then you got another spike in November. Let's see if something happens in November. And yeah, you got some firings happening here. It's not good. You've got a few different, big ticket items. They've got a restatement and a disclosure of $690 million debt. And then end of November, Enron plunges below $1. So let's see if there's anything on November 28th. And yeah, you've got this giant spike on the 27th. And then the 29th, it's like, okay, it's down to, just 500 emails. So interesting. Then you've got one more spike January 30th. And I think that one could be related to this. You've got Cliff Baxter found dead of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. That's not good, but it could be related to Lay resigning from the board. So, I think there's some more investigation we could be doing here, maybe in a later video, to figure out what's the cause of some of these spikes, and kind of drill down into what is really behind it. Are there certain topics that we see causing it? So I think that could be pretty interesting. So I hope you liked the video. We're straying a little bit from the traditional accounting topic, but this is definitely related. And the stuff that we're doing up here, basically parsing these emails, is actually very similar to something that is commonly done with file formats that are not standard formats. So if you've got and from an accounting standpoint, so if you've got accounting records or transactions that you're trying to extract information from, you can do a very similar process here. Even though these are emails, you could do something similar with transactions or other things that have financial implications, and pull out the certain pieces and extract it into this format where you then have access to the components that you need. So if you enjoyed the video, please click like. If you want to keep up with these, please click subscribe, and feel free to add a comment. I will respond to it for sure. And hope to see you next time. Have a good one.